Jeonghan Moon had spent 6 years erasing his family's criminal past, until one smile from a struggling waitress unraveled everything. Within 3 weeks of meeting her, a Russian mobster was calling her phone with threats. His father was weaponizing $200,000 against their relationship, and he was standing at an impossible crossroads. Push away the only woman he'd ever loved to keep her alive, or risk everything for a chance at happiness that might get them both killed. The Peninsula Hotel. Manhattan's elite. 50 models circling like sharks. And Jeonghan Moon, heir to a fortune built on blood, stood frozen, watching a waitress smile. Not the fake, practiced smile he'd seen all night. Something real. Something that cracked the ice around his chest. Find out everything about her, he told Daniel, by morning. But here's what he didn't know yet. That smile would cost him $5 million and nearly destroy everything he'd built. 24 hours. Later, Jeonghan showed up at Harvest Moon Cafe. Amara looked up from making lattes, exhaustion written across her face after 3 hours of sleep, and said the words that should have stopped him. This is veering into stalker territory. She was right. He had her entire life investigated, knew about the $60,000 in debt, the 3 jobs, the 347 auditions that led nowhere. Here's where it gets crazy. He didn't care about any of that. I want to know you, he said simply, and against every instinct screaming at her to run, she gave him a chance. Their first date, Korean barbecue in Koreatown. Amara asked the question everyone eventually asked. Legitimate. Implying your family's business wasn't before? Jeonghan could have lied. Should have lied. Instead, my family built their empire on organized crime. I've spent 6 years dismantling it. Every illegal operation gone. Every questionable partnership dissolved. Wait for it. She didn't run. She leaned in. That must have been dangerous. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. But you did it anyway. That's when he knew. This woman was different. 3 weeks of bliss. Morning coffee at Harvest Moon became his ritual. He'd work from the corner while she made lattes, stealing glances that made everything else fade. Evening walks through neighborhoods where she'd point out architecture and share audition horror stories. Late nights running lines in his apartment until she'd collapse laughing on his couch. And then came the callback. The role that could change her life. I think I got it, she said, voice shaking. Jeonghan, I think I actually got it. But wait, here's the twist. My father wants to meet you. The temperature dropped 10 degrees. If you've never experienced psychological warfare disguised as dinner, let me paint you a picture. Jeonghan Moon sat across from Amara in his Westchester estate. Every word a calculated strike. 3 jobs. That must be exhausting. Theater. A difficult field. So few opportunities for those without connections. Jeonghan's hand found hers under the table, an anchor in the storm. Then his father made his mistake. I wonder what you're asking my son to sacrifice. That's enough, Jeonghan said sharply. And then he dropped the bomb. For the woman I love. Silence crashed over the table. They hadn't said those words yet. Not in private, definitely not in front of his father. But Jeonghan turned to her, eyes fierce. I love you, Amara, and whatever my father thinks is irrelevant. I love you too, she whispered. His father stood. This dinner is over. They left. But the war had just begun. Monday morning, 2 phone calls that would destroy everything. First call, 9:47 a.m. You got the part. Amara nearly dropped the milk carton. 6 years of fighting, and finally, the break she needed. Second call, 2:13 p.m. Miss Baptiste, this is Jeonghan Moon. Here's what nobody tells you about powerful families. They don't make threats. They make offers. The cafe, the corner booth. the folder sliding across the table. $200,000. Walk away from my son. Build your career without the burden. Amara stared at the check. More money than she'd earn in 5 years. Freedom from debt. From struggling. From choosing between rent and groceries. But wait. You think I can be bought? I think you're practical. Wrong answer. I'm not interested in your money, and I'm not afraid of your threats. She walked out. And that's when everything went to hell. Jeonghan's apartment, windows overlooking Central Park, his body vibrating with fury. 200,000. He offered you $200,000. And implied I'd be in danger? The phone call was brutal. Father and son, years of tension exploding. There are people who would see her as an easy target. Then you protect her. The Kim organization remembers. The Bratva has grievances. Are all problems you created, and if anyone comes after her, they'll learn what kind of monster you raised. Here's the thing about families built on violence. The violence never really leaves. 3 weeks of normal. 3 weeks of believing maybe, just maybe, they'd survive this. Amara threw herself into rehearsals. Jeonghan arranged security. Everything felt manageable. Then she noticed the car. Black sedan. Nothing special. Except it was everywhere. Thursday evening, walking home from rehearsal. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Amara Baptiste, you should reconsider your relationship choices. Her blood froze. Who is this? Listen carefully to what happened next. Someone who remembers debts owed by the Moon family. You're wearing a blue jacket. Very pretty. Would be a shame if something happened to it. Or to you. She spun around. The sedan, half a block away. Tell Jeonghan Moon that Alexei Volkov remembers, and tell him if he wants to keep his pretty American girl safe, he'll agree to a meeting. Tribeca. Luxury condo, reinforced doors, panic rooms, surveillance everywhere. Jeonghan arrived at midnight looking like he'd aged 10 years. It's handled. $5 million, a formal apology. My personal guarantee Moon Global will never interfere with Bratva operations. $5 million is irrelevant. Your safety is worth 100 times that. But here's what broke him. Volkov wanted me to understand I can't escape my family's legacy, that you're vulnerable because of me. Silence. He's right. Jeonghan. I love you too much to keep putting you in danger. And there it was. The choice every person in a complicated situation fears. Love or safety. But not both. You're about to open in a play that could launch your career. You deserve to focus on that, not looking over your shoulder. That's not your decision to make. Not when the risk is your life. His composure cracked. Volkov said next time he might not call first. That accidents happen. The only way to guarantee your safety is to remove you from my life entirely. Amara felt tears burning. So that's it? You decide for both of us? The choice is mine because I'm the one bringing danger into your life. This is a mistake. We can figure this out. I've already arranged continued security and an account for any expenses. I don't want your money. I want you. What happened next will break your heart. And I want you alive and free from the shadows I was born into. Please, Amara, don't make this harder. She stared at him, this man she loved completely, and saw he'd already decided. If this is really what you want, look me in the eye and tell me you don't want to be with me anymore. His eyes. God, the pain in his eyes. I will always want you. But what I want doesn't matter if it puts you in harm's way. I'm sorry. He walked out. I love you, she called, after him. And I don't accept this. I'm not giving up on us. Then you're braver than I am. A star-making performance. New York Times. Amara Baptiste is a revelation. Variety. Everything she'd worked for was happening. Award nominations, film offers, Broadway. And she'd never felt more hollow. Here's what everyone says about success. It fills the void. Here's the truth. Success without the person you love feels like drowning in an empty ocean. She worked. She smiled at events. She booked roles. And every night she stared at his number in her phone, saved but never called. Meanwhile, across Manhattan, Jeonghan Moon closed 3 major deals, expanded Moon Global into new markets, officially severed the last tie to his family's criminal past. By every measure, he was succeeding, and he was miserable. "You look like hell," Daniel said, tossing a magazine on his desk. Amara's face. Stunning photo shoot. Broadway's next big thing. He'd been to 12 of her performances, standing in the back where she couldn't see him, watching her pour their heartbreak into every scene. "Her play closes in 2 weeks," Daniel said quietly. "After that, she's leaving for LA. If you're going to do something, now's the time." Cherry Lane Theater, packed house, final show. Amara stood backstage when the stage manager handed her a card. "You are magnificent. Always have been. Always will be. J." Her hands shook. She looked through the curtain gap. 4th row center. Jeonghan Moon. After 7 months of silence, he'd come. What Amara did next was either genius or insanity. She took every ounce of pain, every moment of longing, every desperate hope she'd carried for 7 months, and poured it into Simone, the final monologue, about choosing courage over safety, about fighting for love even when the world says it's impossible. She spoke directly to him, every word a message. "We don't get to choose who we love, but we do get to choose whether we're brave enough to fight for it. And I choose bravery. I choose risk. I choose love." Standing ovation, tears throughout the theater. But Amara only saw Jeonghan, standing and applauding with an expression that stopped her heart. He waited with peonies. Her favorite. "I've been to 12 performances. I couldn't stay away. I've tried for 7 months to convince myself I made the right choice. I can't. Because it was cowardice disguised as protection." Tears streamed down her face. "I thought letting you go would keep you safe, but all it did was make us both miserable. So if we're going to be miserable anyway, I'd rather be miserable together and fighting for something. You broke my heart. I know. You made a decision for both of us. I know. It was wrong. And then you disappeared for 7 months. I know. And if you tell me to leave, I will. But Amara, I have to try. I have to fight for this. Because a life without you isn't a life worth living." Here's the moment that changes everything. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever decide what's best for me without asking first. I'm not a damsel. I'm your partner. You're equal. If we're doing this, we're doing it together. Does that mean? It means I love you too. It means we have a lot to work through. But it also means I never stopped fighting for us. I was just waiting for you to be brave enough to fight back. His hands cupped her face. "I'm here. I'm fighting, and I'm never walking away again. Promise me. On everything I am, I promise." Harvest Moon Cafe, transformed with flowers and light. Not a grand ballroom. The place where it all began. Amara in simple cream silk. Jeonghan in a dark suit. No Tom Ford this time. Just him. Personal vows. Tears. Promises. "You taught me that real strength is vulnerability. That true power is partnership. You saw me when I felt invisible. You believed in me when I was ready to give up." They kissed. Married. Together. Tribeca Film Festival. Premiere of Crossroads. Moon Baptiste Productions' first major film. Standing ovation. distribution deals, critics raving. But the real success? Later that night, collapsed on their couch. We did it. We're a team. And they were. Moon Baptiste Productions was transforming the industry. 3 plays, 2 films, a TV deal launching next year, creating opportunities for artists the industry had overlooked. But here's the secret nobody tells you about building an empire. I have news, Jeonghan said. Moon Global just acquired the Brennan building. We're converting it into an arts center, affordable rehearsal spaces, performance venues, all through Moon Baptiste as a nonprofit. Amara's eyes went wide. That's incredible. I learned from the best that you can't do everything alone. Outside their windows, New York City hummed. Millions of stories, millions of dreams, millions of hearts hoping for connection. But Jeonghan and Amara had already found it. They'd found each other, fought through fear and danger and impossible choices, and built something extraordinary. Not just a production company or successful careers, but a partnership based on respect, support, and the kind of love that only grows stronger through challenge. Photo on their nightstand. Wedding day at Harvest Moon. Laughing together with pure joy. Best decision I ever made, Jeonghan said. Stalking me at my workplace? Choosing bravery over fear. Choosing you over everything else. Choosing us. Best decision we ever made. He walked past 50 perfect opportunities and saw something infinitely more precious than perfection. He found authenticity. He found strength. He found a partner who challenged him to be better. And together, they built something that transcended their individual dreams. A love story that proves. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose connection over safety, vulnerability over control, and love over fear. The real question is, what would you do for love? But wait, there's something I didn't tell you. About Jeonghan Moon, about why he really tried to break them apart, about the secret he was protecting. That story? That's coming next week. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it, because what I'm about to reveal about Jeonghan's family will change everything you thought you knew. Drop a comment. Would you have taken the $200,000? Or would you have fought for love? See you next week.